Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and you are watching Poland Daily Culture from Warsaw. And with me is Michał Awerczuk, a filmmaker and also co-author of a book, Guerrillas, Partyzanci. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
It's a great pleasure and a very important cause. I never felt that, so near in Belarus, such extremely important things would happen, and we watch them, we see them, and congratulations for this work. Congratulations to all of the journalists who took part, and especially to Arleta Bojka.
And Michał Potocki.
And Michał Potocki, who edited.
And wrote as well one of the chapters.
And you wrote this chapter about Igor.
Yeah.
Or Igor in Polish, who is in prison. But there are other stories, very, very sad stories. One of them is about Nadia, who is a photographer, and Bianca Zalewska and Ewa Raczyńska wrote about her, made an interview with her. She's currently in Kiev, so she left Belarus because she was afraid, as I understand, of her life.
Wouldn't be you?
I would be, of course. I would be, definitely.
If you need to hide wherever you want to write something, if you need to hide, if you post something on the internet, this is extremely important for me, in my opinion, because we have this, I don't know, like 3 stories about the new generation. My story was named Belarusian Matrix. Nadia is a photographer, and that's like one of those old ways of showing things, old ways of journalistic work, writing, like television, even television, right? But imagine if you are a YouTuber, if you're a streamer, if you got TikToker, which is extremely now hip,
popular.
Right? Popular.
Of course.
And then you go into jail for TikToking. If you go into jail for being on Instagram.
Yeah.
How sick is that?
That's sick and that's crazy. And of course it's, but it also brings a lot of importance to your work, I would say.
Extremely, extreme amount of importance. That's why Nadia and other even like cinematographers or camera operators, cameramans, YouTubers, but mostly journalists, like from the old ways of understanding journalism, right? All of them are here in the book, and there are real people that get their own stories. Every story is different. Like none of them are the same. Like we're completely different people. We got our own stories. The most important thing here is not about statistics, because we can say that 37,000 people were incarcerated like last few years, right? Or since last year. But 37,000 people, it's non-personal. That's nothing. That's just a statistic.
Yeah.
But here you got real people, real stories, and you can.
Yeah, it's not a number. You live their life.
Names.
Yes, you can learn the names, which is of course difficult, but it's a challenge which we should do. But what I would add, and that what this book shows, that it's not only those people, but it's also their families.
Yeah, of course.
So they and their husband or wives and their children, and so they're all affected in a way, and either they're waiting in front of the prison or being afraid, and they have to move. They lose their homes, they lose their everything what they worked for, and that's already a much bigger number, and it shows how important it is.
That's the oppression I was talking about.
Yes.
They're not allowed to live their normal lives, and that's the sickest thing about this regime. And I'm not afraid of calling it regime. That's not an authoritarian government anymore. Since he kidnapped the plane, that was regime kind of a job to do, right?
Yeah, of course, it's not a...
And we have their families, we got their even neighbors, and they know what we're... I mean, I've talked with a lot of Belarusians, and they told me that they know what it feels like, and that we should know what it feels like, we as Polish people.
Of course,
because we
our
had
history.
1981.
Yes.
And the martial law back then. So basically right now, maybe it's not the same thing, because there are no like tanks on the streets like if it was back during the communist era, but still, it's
of course,
almost the same.
A lot of people die. I mean, there's this photo of Nadia where she took a picture, like when a guy jumped on a trunk, he wanted to stop it, so he kept calling there, and he suddenly fell, and the car didn't stop. It just went through him. and he died there.
Like
So-
in Breslau back 1981. But
It's-
yeah,
so that's over. I mean, and that's he had a family, he had everyone. That his story is done, and he, in a way, he is a hero. But I mean, those little things that when you stay in prison even for 8 months or a year, it changes your life forever. It might influence.
they're not probably going to recover from that. That's for sure.
It might influence your
That's
health
like
forever.
being on a war, being like a war correspondent, like fighting for freedom. It's like fighting for the freedom in
On the battle.
in a direct way,
Yes.
right? But
Like
yeah,
if for example, one of the journalists, if she got raped, I mean, it's not change the history, but for her, it's a huge thing, and she just, doing her job. I never go to, station at work, and I'm never afraid of being murdered, tortured, raped, or just kept in
I
prison
mean,
for
none
5
of you
months.
guys here in the studio are,
Yes,
but
They
yeah,
are.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be happening if if Belarus was here right now. The new system was here, but yeah, that's extremely important. And I want to just add that, like, one picture can change everything.
yes.
That's why her job is so important. That's why all of those people, like one article, one information, is extremely important to know what's happening in your country. Because here now like you said before, you got like TVN24, you got Republika, okay, TVP Info, whatever you want to call them.
Whatever you want to watch,
Whatever.
whoever
I'm
wants
not
to
talking
watch,
about that.
yes.
But then you get your information from both sides, and you get your own opinion.
And you get Twitter, you get Facebook, you get
You got
call,
everything you need.
Whatever you need, exactly. And
In
the-
Belarus, you got only Lukashenko TV.
yeah,
So basically, you cannot get any kind of information different
yes,
than Lukashenko or his Ministry of Propaganda wants, right? That's why even one particular, and you were, for example, you weren't, but if you were being raised and you grew up, like Ihar Losik, for example, or Protasevich, they grew up when they were little, Lukashenko was already there.
yes,
When internet comes,
he was there as well.
he was there as well, but that was the first time they could have actually see the real information about their own country.
Yeah, and of
After
course,
20-something years.
and communism and all those such ideology are mostly the virus of the mind. So you never know what's true, what's not true, and that's why it's so important the job that you're doing, and it's also so important what you have done with the book. Congratulations about it. And again, we invite you, the viewers of Poland Daily, to read this book, to be interested, to check up, maybe to learn their names, to remember those stories, because who is going to remember them if not you? And that's how we're gonna finish this episode. Thank you very much for being with us.